Hello, I'm Catherine and this is my channel all about children's books. I want to start off this video by just saying a huge thank you to everybody who liked or left a comment or subscribed or came up to tell me in person that you had enjoyed my first couple of videos. It really did mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And a couple of people have also given me some suggestions of things that they'd like to see on this channel in the future, including a couple of people asked for some recommendations of new middle grade books. And that is exactly what I'm going to talk about today. So for those of you who don't know, middle grade is a kind of industry term really that is generally used to refer to books for children aged from around about 9 to around about 12. So today I have these 5 new middle grade books that I'm going to talk to you about. These are 5 of my recent favourites and they all have a fantastical, magical adventure theme. These books are all out now. You can find them in your local bookshop. So the first book I'm going to talk about is this. It's The Apprentice Witch by James Nichol, published by Chicken House. This is a debut novel and it is the story of a young witch, Arianwen, who is absolutely devastated when she fails her all-important witches assessment test. And because she's failed the test, she's given the more lowly title of Apprentice Witch, and she is sent to protect a small, kind of remote, not particularly exciting town called Lull. But when Arianwen arrives in Lull, she soon finds that the town is not quite as kind of unexciting as she had expected. In fact, there's some quite interesting things going on. There are magical dark creatures in the woods, there are problems with the townspeople, and then her kind of arch rival, Jimmer, turns up on the scene, and soon Arianwen finds she's in even more trouble than before. Now this is a really, really lovely, kind of gentle fantasy tale. It's full of magic. There is adventure here and there's excitement, but it's also got a real warmth and coziness about it all the way through the story. Even when Arianwen is facing sort of difficult problems and peril, there's always that nice reassuring sense that probably everything's going to be all right in the end. It reminded me a little bit of The Worst Witch. There's also some hints of Harry Potter in here. Really, the world that this is set in reminded me very much of the world of Diana Wynne Jones's books. And I think people who've enjoyed books like Charmed Life will really enjoy this story. The next book that I want to talk about today is another debut. This is The Girl of Incan Stars by Kieran Millwood Hargrave, and it's published by Chicken House. And Kieran is a poet and a playwright as well as a children's author, and I think that really comes through in the way that she tells the story in this book. It's quite a small, slim book. It's a quick read, and it's a really lovely adventure story which is set on this mysterious island, and it's the story of a girl called Isabella. She is the daughter of a map maker. And when her best friend goes missing, she is drawn into a very dangerous journey into a part of the island she's never been to before, the Forbidden Territories. What happens there is very much a story which is about friendship, it's about love, it's about courage and magic. And one of the things that I really love about this book is that it is so beautifully packaged. It really is a bit of a work of art. You can see the beautiful cover here, which is really lovely. But inside, also you'll see you've got these beautiful French flaps and one of my favourite things in a children's book, a map. And obviously because this is a book about map making, that's especially appropriate. But I do love the beautiful details that these maps have. And you can see as well, there's just lovely things like the beautiful borders around the pages that we see here. These lovely edgings to each page. The whole thing is just a very beautiful looking book. So I think anybody who enjoys beautiful book design will also really appreciate this. So the next book I'm going to talk about today is this one. It's Strange Star by Emma Carroll, published by Faber Children's Books. And Emma Carroll is one of my favourite middle grade children's authors writing at the moment. She writes absolutely beautiful historical novels for children. And in Strange Star, she does something that I think is really clever, which is that she takes inspiration from a real life historical event and uses it as the basis for her sort of own imaginative take on what that could have been. So in this case, the story is based on the real story of how Frankenstein came to be written, and it's set in Lake Geneva in Switzerland at the house of Lord Byron, the famous poet, and it's told from the point of view of his young serving boy Felix, who's kind of watching from the sidelines as Lord Byron's friends, including Mary Shelley, gather together one evening to tell spooky ghost stories around the fire. But just as they're all telling these creepy tales, there comes a knock at the door and Felix is the one who goes to answer it. And what he finds on the doorstep suddenly makes the events of the evening become even more eerie than before. I think this is such a clever book. I really love how Emma has drawn on the traditions of Gothic novels and kind of woven them together to create this new story. There is everything you would expect here from a classic Gothic novel. There are dramatic storms, there is creepy ghost stories, there are strange noises in the night, there are weird scientific experiments. And I also really like the way that Emma has used a sort of story within a story framework to tell the story, which also feels very true to that Gothic tradition. But if all that is making it sound terribly highbrow, then don't worry, because this is absolutely a very enjoyable and entertaining story that children who enjoy that kind of creepy, spine-tingling, spooky tale will absolutely love. The next book on my list today is The Uncommoners, The Crooked Sixpence by Jennifer Bell. Jennifer started out her career as a children's bookseller, and I think you can really feel her love for those classic children's magical adventure stories in the pages of this book. This is the tale of two children, brother and sister, Ivy and Seb, who find themselves drawn into an incredible new world, the world of the Uncommoners. And this is a world in which ordinary objects can really do extraordinary things. I don't want to give too much away about this story because part of the charm of it for me was the world in which it was set. And there's just so much imagination that has gone into the creation of this world. And in some ways it kind of reminded me a bit of the kind of Harry Potter, Diagon Alley kind of vibe in terms of the details and the sort of imagination and the fun that has gone into imagining the world that the story is set in. There is danger, there are secrets to be uncovered, and there are all kinds of perilous challenges that Ivy and Seb must face in the course of this story. It is the first in a series, but it's just a really entertaining read, and I think people who are looking for something to fill that sort of Harry Potter shaped gap will really enjoy this. Also, shout out for the lovely cover to Carl James Mountford, who is the illustrator of this one, who is also the illustrator of my next book, The Mystery of the Painted Dragon, so yay Carl! The last book I want to talk about today is this one. This is Cogheart by Peter Bunzel. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is published by Usborne. This, I have to say, is just a proof copy. Sadly, I don't have a finished copy to hand, but the finished copy is absolutely beautiful. And although the official publication date is September, you can get it in shops now. It is currently the Waterstones Children's Book of the Month. This is a glorious book. It is the story of Lily, a young girl whose life suddenly gets very interesting when her father disappears. And it is set in a brilliant steampunk world of steamships and clockwork animals. There is a mechanical fox in the story called Malkin, who I completely fell in love with when I was reading it. It's a really lovely, magical story. It's also a very moving story, and it's beautifully written. I've seen it compared to lots and lots of other books. I've seen it compared to Catherine Rundell, I've seen it compared to Piers Torday, and particularly Philip Reeve's Mortal Engines series, because it has that sort of steampunk quality. But I have to say that what it reminded me most of was Joan Aiken, in terms of that sort of alternate history and the sort of combination of humour and adventure and magic. So that's it for my video today. These are my 5 new middle grade recommendations, all on a sort of magical fantasy adventure theme. I really hope you enjoy them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Do please like and subscribe and leave me a comment if there is anything particular you would like to see here in future. I am looking forward to making some more videos soon, so stay tuned.